Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all good. Now today I'm with That's Me Flawless, and honestly I think this is gonna be a good laugh for both
Look
of
at you.
us.
This is not just.
We've not even started and we're talking off air about United, and it's just hard to take it seriously, but thanks
We're
for
a joke.
joining me.
Just say it, Toph. Don't be kind. Just say it. We're a joke of a football club right now. Just be honest about it. Just be honest. It's okay. I'll take offense. Just be honest. Just be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's you just sort of I don't know what to say about your club. It's hard because like you sort of know what to expect if United are playing. Like, I mean, to be honest with you, I did watch the United and Villa game, and I thought you've got to win this game. I mean, you didn't lose, but you needed to win that one for me. But I'm just surprised Ten Hag's still here. But listen, it'll be good to chat today. And big up John as well for your lovely comment. Brilliant guest, so if you enjoy speaks facts,
Big up,
absolutely.
John.
Love that. And big up to everyone that's watching as well. But yeah, I thought we could just get straight into it or just chat a bit about Arsenal season, United season. And yeah, I wanted just to jump in. Obviously, the season, it's fairly started. I mean, there's been about 6 games, I think, so far. But what have you like made of the season for you guys? I mean, going into last season, you won the FA Cup, you didn't have a great season, but this season, what are you sort of hoping will happen, like your expectations?
Hoping this manager gets sacked. That's where I'm at. That's where I was at. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I was not looking forward to the season. From when they kept the manager, I said all of that. My platform, any platform I was on, I stated this. I didn't like the fact, I despised the fact that they kept the manager. I think it was an absolutely awful decision. And I
Yeah,
didn't want to be right about it. And it turned out to be right. I wrote off the season before it started. I said I'll see everybody in 2025/26. Because with this manager at the helm, we're doing nothing. And it's gone that
mm,
way. Worst ever league start to a Premier League season, beating his record last season of having the worst ever league start to a preseason. We're 14th, minus goal difference, two terrible draws in the Europa League. There's nothing to look forward to. There's nothing good whatsoever about this season. Nothing as this manager's at the helm. They had this meeting yesterday, still no news, no announcement, nothing. It's bad. Terrible.
I can't argue with that. I mean, it's so interesting when you talk about managers because Arteta, you've seen we've not won, a league title yet. We've only won the FA Cup, but I think in some cases managers deserve time. In other cases, they obviously don't. And with Arteta, at the moment, it does seem like it was the right thing for him to stay.
Mm.
But like when Ten Hag first came, like what was your thoughts? Because I know a lot of fans wanted him for a while, and at that you all knew you needed a new manager. But what are your thoughts when he first came to the club?
I was open to it because
Yeah,
I don't watch the Ed because we needed a new manager. You're
yeah,
110% correct on that. I don't watch the Eredivisie like that. I have a few people around me who do. Said that he was a good manager. He had done well, won trophies, won Eredivisie over there, had done well in Europe. So I'm always open to it. If someone has a decent CV and have been in a top European
yeah.
league, then I go, all right, I will give you a chance. So I'm all for it. Got here, the first season, the window I believe was good. Didn't know too much
Mm.
about the signings. Ericsson I knew about. Martinez I didn't know about. Who else did we sign? Anthony I didn't know about. I think I'm missing a signing as well. Casemiro I was over the moon about getting him in. So I thought, okay, we can do something. First 2 games it was awful. We got beat we got beat by Brentford. We got beat by Brighton, and then he turned it around. And then in the first season, no complaints with him. I was like, okay, it wasn't the best season in terms of the football we was playing, but it was a success. There was a clear way of playing. We won the Carabao Cup, first trophy in 6 years. Finished third in the league. Should have done better in Europa League, but injuries did happen as well. I said that I thought there was a foundation for something to build on. So my initial thoughts was good. I was like, okay, the first season, fine.
Yeah, I think it's so tough because I think, when you came in, I was sort of thinking, like, I feel like United are going to really go on and, have a good time, successful time with him. And obviously, I know he has won your cups, but in the league, you need to be able to be at least top four. Like that's sort of where you need to be at. And obviously, right now, you're 14th. It's not good enough. You're not where you should be. And I think it's I do agree. I don't think Ten Hag's really the guy to take you to win things or to challenge. And I do, I feel sorry for like Ferguson as well because he's going to the games, and I just think you deserve so much better. And it's a real shame, sort of like we said off air, I said this, if Arsenal play United, I don't feel worried. And that's sort of how other teams probably go into it, knowing that United are going through a difficult,
Mhm.
yeah, stage. So I think that's the problem as well. I mean, Arsenal went through that, and people, used to laugh at us and didn't take us seriously. But things turned around for us, and obviously at the moment for you guys, it obviously you're in a difficult place. But with like Ten Hag, obviously for me, I always say everyone, if we're not when Arsenal were going through like a bad patch, I always said there's a lot of people that need to take responsibility as well as the manager. But what would you say the manager is doing wrong in particular? Is it just like maybe his management, the players he's brought in, or what would you say is your main problems with Ten Hag?
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything's a problem. Every single thing is a problem, and that's why, to go back to the initial question about this season just gone and the structure, and people try to blame the lack of structure on him having a bad season last season. I said that's a weak excuse, and it's lazy analysis, and it's a very lazy assessment, because now he has a footballing structure, and we're still seeing the issues because you can control the controllables. Yes, Manchester United don't have the best off the field structure. That I agree with
Yeah.
110%. However, my guy Eddie says this all the time: control the controllables. Having a system, a clear way of playing, being a cohesive unit is nothing to do with off the field, because there's teams with less talent than Manchester United who have these things. So that's the bare minimum, and that's not what he's doing. So in regards to him, his tactics terrible, lack of style terrible. We don't have a first 11. Everybody regresses under him. You mentioned the Villa game.
Mm.
All his signings are on the bench. How about you signing players and you don't know how to use them? Martinez,
Yeah.
Delit, Agate, Anthony, there's probably Xerxes. All these players, these are players you signed, all on the bench. That's why I don't hear this thing when people say, "Oh, it's the same players that got
Mm.
previous managers sacked." No, this is his team, because everybody here he either signed, co-signed, or gave a debut to. There's very few players or not, but everyone else, like I said, someone will mention Bruno. He gave Bruno the captaincy and co-signed Bruno getting a new deal. He gave a new deal to Rashford. He co-signed that. Everybody else, like I said, you signed or you gave a debut to. So these are your players. This is your squad, and you don't know how to utilize it. We don't do
Yeah.
anything well. We don't defend well. We don't attack well. What's the pros?
I can't argue with that right now. I
See,
mean,
that's how funny it is. You just laughing off because we a joke. That's what
I
it
think,
is.
do you know what I think as well? I was watching a Villa game and I thought, do you know what? You really could have won that, whether that you could have just nicked that at the end. And the thing is, like with your attack, it's just not clicking. And that's the thing, if your attack was good, your defense was bad, at least you could say we're scoring goals and we're doing good. But
Mhm.
that's sort of the problem you have, is that your defense as well is a bit of a problem. And I think with like the squad you have, I think, Maguire's still at the club, and you've got a lot of players that, like Rashford's a good example, because I like Rashford, but I just don't think he can take you to that next level. And you've got a lot of players that have probably been around for a while, and like you said, the players that you'd probably want to see have been on the bench. But what have you made of like the transfers that he's had, the players he's brought in? Do you think that the players that he's brought in are at a good level? I mean, Fernandez for me, it's very interesting because when he first came to United, I liked him and I thought, "Do you know what, he's a good
Yeah.
player." And I don't know, I feel like it's gone a bit downhill. Like I don't feel threatened if you look at United players, I don't look at him and think,
You never
he's
think of
a
him as a
yeah,
danger man. That's
yeah,
never crossed your mind, Sophie. All the times Arsenal have played Manchester United, you've been like, Bruno's
yeah.
been playing. Bruno's playing. We
Mhm.
need to watch him. He's a danger man. That tells you all you need to know. That our number 10, our talisman, our captain is not feared. But I've never heard, and whether it's you, whether it's
Yeah.
any rival team, any team we faced, I've never heard opposition fans go, "I worry about Bruno in this game." Never. In the entire time he's been here, never heard that. That tells you all you need to know about the level of him. When regards to the windows and the players we
Mm,
signed, actually, I'm in the minority. I actually don't mind the players we signed.
yeah.
for the most part, I think that's one thing I have actually praised Ineos for, even though I think they're an incompetent ownership group. The window they had, the players we brought in, for the most part, I like. I actually like Agate is the only one I look at with the side eye because of how poor he's been. The
Yeah.
outgoings, we made the most money we've ever made in the Premier League, actually in our history, in regards to sales. Second season, the window was bad. Mason Mount was a woeful signing.
Yeah,
That
that's
is
not
that
been
is
great.
that is an awful signing. Hoyland, awful signing. But the first and third seasons, I look at for the most part, you're gonna have misses when you're signing. When you're signing 4 to 5 players, one of them probably is going to be a miss. But I actually like the players we've
Yeah.
signed. We just football's a system game, and you need to put them in a system to get the best out of them.
Yeah, definitely. And that's obviously a good thing that you feel as though the players that he's brought in have, have been useful and good, but obviously you're not really seeing enough of them, which is, the tough thing.
Mm.
I wanted just to speak a bit about this because
Well,
De Gea, do you know what? I really like De Gea at United. I thought he was really saving you for a while, and
mm.
then Onana comes in, and Arsenal were linked to him quite a while ago, and I quite liked him, and he's came to United, and I've been quite surprised in how bad he's been. I think I think he's gradually getting better, but you know what? If Arsenal play against you, and I feel like we're more than likely to score against him, like I don't feel like
You don't
he's
feel threatened.
yeah,
You
yeah.
don't think he's a quality keeper.
I feel like I'm quite surprised. I thought he would have been an upgrade on David De Gea, but what have you made of him as a signing this season?
See, you laughing about it tells you all you need to know. Get
I
your
feel
laugh out. It's
awful.
cool
I can't
self.
help.
Yeah, he's terrible. Terrible signing. And it the right decision to get rid of De Gea? Yes. De
Yeah,
Gea had to leave without question, no doubt. He's not a modern day goalkeeper. This is why he was out of the game for the year, and this is why he's now at Fiorentina. That tells you the level where he's at. On the flip side, Onana's also not good enough. And that's okay. You're gonna
mhm,
have misses. My problem is that Onana is still here now. It's like, no, you move on. And that's a thing that people seem to have an issue with, whether it's players or whether it's managers. Oh, you can't keep buying and selling players. Yes, you can. You can't keep sacking and hiring managers. Yes, you can, because you do that till you get it right, because we're talking the elite level of sport here. So with
yeah,
Onana, yeah, he's been terrible. And even when he's had upturns in form, even in this season, even though it's not been going on too long, there's always a mistake in him. There's
yeah.
always there's always a mistake there. And I look at him and I go, yeah, that's just typical him. So not good enough, needs to be moved on, and we need a new goalkeeper.
Yeah, I think like it's a good point with goalkeepers because like Arsenal have had so many like since Leno, and it does take time, and I don't think that's a problem. Like you said, I think it's just a fact you're not really being ruthless with these decisions, and I think it's okay if managers make mistakes, but it's about them what changing and what they're going to do about it. And I do agree. Sat Ten Hag, if you're a serious club. I think, do you know what, like you said,
Yeah.
there's been a lot of rumours with United about, board meetings, and I think United, if they're a big club right now, serious, they would think, you know what, he's had a bad start to the season, it's not good enough. It's quite surprising in a way that he's not really they're not really thinking it. They do you think they believe that he can really win you things? Like I just don't see it honestly.
No, they told us all they need to know in the summer because they tried to replace him. That lets us know their thoughts on him. So that when people say, oh, they kept him because you won a trophy. No, they kept him because they're incompetent. That's why, because they tried to replace him. They interviewed Tuchel. They were actively and publicly looking for another manager. Now, the interview didn't go well with Tuchel, but the fact they kept him also screams the incompetence, because surely you go
Yeah.
to option B, option C, and so on. They didn't do that. I didn't want any else in the first place. I was skeptical of him in the first place. And all they've done in regards to the managerial side of things is show me they're incompetent. Even now, the fact that it's the 9th of October right now, he's still manager right now, tells me all I need to know. Tells me all I need to know. I think just straight incompetence.
Yeah, it's just not good enough. I mean, I think as well last season, you winning that trophy definitely saved his job. Like, if you'd not won that, I definitely think you'd have gone. Do you think you'd have gone if you hadn't have won that, or do you think you would have still stayed?
You know why? I still think he would have stayed, because they
Mm,
still would have interviewed Tuchel, and then Tuchel would have said no, and then there's no other option. So clearly, like I said, it all just screams incompetence. And if it was off of one game, That's an issue too. You are the ownership group of Manchester United. You are making the footballing decisions, and a manager's job is dependent on one match. That in itself, let's say hypothetically, that is true. That in itself is a major problem. Forget the
Yeah,
whole season. Forget that you lot was there from February onwards. Forget that we had our worst ever Premier League finish. Forget that we had our worst ever Champions League finish. So you're just gonna bypass that because of one match problem.
yeah. I
No,
think do you know what? It's so tough because I know Arsenal were in like a similar position where the first season I could understand us finishing, where we did because Arteta came in, but when we finished eighth again, like I was just thinking like this can't go on, and I don't think he could turn it around. But do you think there's any chance with Ten Hag that by having a season or two, by having more time, he could maybe do what Arteta's done at Arsenal?
no, because Arteta, as much as I'm critical of
Mm,
Arteta, there was an upwards trajectory.
yeah,
Eighth, eighth, fifth, second, second. Am I right in saying there was
yeah, yeah,
finishes? So
yeah,
there's an upward trajectory. We watched you lot gradually get better and climb up the table. As much as I don't think Arteta's the guy, he
yeah.
didn't go fifth, third, seventh, eighth. That's a whole different conversation. He's gone third in Carabao Cup to seventh in FA Cup, but the FA Cup is not bypassed. Like I said, worst ever Premier League finish in our
Mm,
history. Eighth with a minus goal difference. Worst ever Champions League campaign in British history. And that was a Europa League level group. It's not like we was in there, big up to Will every single
yeah,
time.
big up
It's
Will.
not it's not like we was there and it was a group of death. We was there with Bayern Munich, who was so weak that they didn't win their league. Galatasaray and Copenhagen. That's a Europa League level group. And we finished bottom of it. And never mind all the records he's broke outside of that. There's a Twitter thread on that. Where that list, if I start reading out that list, we'd be here for the next half an hour. Like the list is
Yeah,
that long, and there's probably more to be added to it. So can he turn it? There's nothing to suggest he can turn it around. There's
yeah,
no evidence. There's not even a way you go, all right, we're scoring a lot of goals. Oh, no, we're defending really well. Oh, well, this group of players individual, everything is going backwards. Everything is regressing. Nobody's doing well.
yeah. I think, like you said, like with Arsenal, like say the FA Cup when we won it, in the performance, I thought if Arteta had the right players, then I think we've got a good chance of having success. But like you said, you're not even seeing a glimpse of a good performance in the attacking sense or defensively. As a performance, you're struggling all around, and it's just not good enough. But this really surprised me when Gareth Southgate was linked to you guys because it he's not like Southgate obviously has taken England to a certain quite far. Obviously, he's not able to win anything, but he's probably maybe known for not winning things, and he's been linked to you guys. And I think that's quite an insult for United fans for you to be linked by him.
Oh, definitely. 100%. But more so, and I would have done the same. Rival fans pushed that. And I get why rival fans
Mm,
pushed that. Because Ornstein came out during, I think it was a few days ago, I seen the tweet, and he mentioned a few things. And he mentioned, it was before the Villa game, because he was on American TV, NBC. And he said, Manchester United had no interest in Southgate in the summer. And that's not changed now. But obviously, rival fans pushed it, which I get. I would push Southgate
yeah,
into
if
a
it's
rival club.
Arsenal, yeah,
100%. If it was
yeah,
Arsenal,
definitely.
if it was Liverpool, if it was City, of course. So with Southgate, I get where that stems from. But yeah, I don't think there's shown to be no legs to that because it was just social media. It was just rival fans pushing it.
Yeah, it just seemed like it was more like a rumor thing. Like I think,
You know?
I think so many people were just wanting for that to
They
happen. I
wanted it
don't.
to happen.
Yeah,
Yeah, they wanted the suffering to continue, which I get. Because, like I said, I'm like that. So I understand
yeah,
it from a rival's perspective. I wish nothing bad on all my rivals Arsenal, City,
yeah,
Liverpool, Leeds, etc. The list goes on. If you're a rival, I wish you nothing but bad as a football club. So I get why
yeah.
people feel that way about Manchester United. I get it.
Yeah, because it does happen, when we were doing bad, people were enjoying it. So
Oh,
it's
yeah,
sort
yeah.
of
I
nice.
thoroughly enjoyed it. It was
Yeah,
great.
it's nice to be in like the other position now where you're watching. I mean, Chelsea is a good example to use because for me, growing up, Chelsea was so good and it
Yeah.
really made me angry. And now I know they're improving a little bit, but now they're obviously not where they should be. It's amazing to
Yeah,
me
talk
sometimes.
about it. Dunk on him. Hey, will Chelsea fans hold that? You know what I'm saying? We can turn this into a Chelsea dunk session with that.
Yeah, we're happy to just dunk on them, honestly.
100%.
Do you know what I've noticed? You know, it's so interesting because for me growing up, I absolutely hated United, and
Mm.
I'm starting to think now that I have more hatred for Man City because they just get on my nerves. Like I hate, there's teams I really, really hate. Chelsea's definitely up there, but Man
Yeah.
City for me, they yeah,
So who's your? Let me
Haaland.
ask you, so who's your mate? So who's your mate? Well, yeah, it can change, but now, like, who's the main rival? Who's the team? Like, give us like your top four. Like, who's the team you despise the most?
Well, Spurs number one.
Oh, so Spurs are one. All right, cool,
Yeah,
fair. Yeah, I
beating
respect
them
that.
is just like it's a different feeling. I mean, do you know what? It's interesting because when Harry Kane was at Spurs,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just
yeah.
enjoyed it even more. I mean, I still enjoy it now, of course, but um, oh, do you know what? It's so hard to put in order, but I'll just tell you
That
top
is
four.
that is
Yeah,
tough. You know, it's tough. That's why I asked
Chelsea,
the
like,
question. Go
do
on.
you know what? It's interesting that because when both teams are at it and doing really well,
Yeah.
when you beat them, there's an extra sort of feeling about that. I mean,
Right.
Chelsea beat, I suppose London. It's just a good feeling beating them.
Mhm. So is it you? Is it dependent? So do you look at it and go, it's dependent on where the team is at in the league? So if you're competing with the Chelsea, does that add more to it? Say if you was competing
Yeah,
with
I
the
think
Spurs.
so. Because,
Okay,
like,
fair.
say when we play Liverpool, that's a good
Yeah.
example because we used to honestly, our performances against them were so bad. I would go into the
Wow.
game knowing that I'm gonna lose. Like, I just know we were gonna lose. So
Yeah.
I think I don't like, I have respect for Liverpool, so I probably wouldn't class them. But I think with Man City, they're definitely up there.
Because you're
Um,
battling for them, trying to topple
yeah,
them for
and
the
I
title.
think it,
Okay,
I
makes
think
sense.
it's so annoying because we've lost out twice, and
Mm.
it makes it even more frustrating.
I get it.
Um, I think United would be there, but I still hate United. But I think they're probably Man City at the moment just irritate me more right
Mm.
now.
Fair.
But yeah, what about you? What's your sort of top four?
Oh, Liverpool number 100%, like
Yeah,
100%. That's regional. I'm Manc born and bred, so that's ingrained in me, like as young, like even outside of the two football clubs. Can't stand Liverpool.
yeah,
Arsenal second, because
yeah,
that's what I grew up in. Like I grew up
yeah.
in
That
like
rivalry
United
was amazing.
90s, like that rival. Not only is my favorite rivalry, can't stand you lot. I really can't. That's why even though when we were doing well and you lot were bad and vice versa, it's still Arsenal. So yeah, Liverpool, Arsenal, then City. 110% C, even though for the vast majority of my life they've not been around, but even more so now. And then
Yeah,
fourth, Leeds, even though Leeds haven't been relevant, only been in the Premier League once in 17 years, can't stand them. That's my
yeah.
four.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, Liverpool's an interesting one, right? Because I think with Arsenal and Liverpool, we've always had that respect for both clubs.
Mm.
Because Liverpool have always been a big club, and they've
Absolutely.
got that history. But I think because of like, I suppose with Saliba coming, being probably one of the best centre backs, upcoming, and obviously Van Dijk's, you know, probably being better than him so far. Saliba's definitely getting there, and I think Saliba will be at that level if we can win things. But I think Liverpool's not and always one that's always been like a tough one. But it's interesting because do you know when Arsenal weren't competing and we were sort of trying to get top four, Man
Uh-huh.
City never bothered me. And now they just honestly, I think as we're competing, we've got a great chance of winning the league. Like they
Uh-huh.
really irritate me because I think, when Arteta first came in, I knew we were miles away from ever
Uh-huh.
winning the league. And I thought, are we ever going to do it? So I never really, because Man City, this is going to sound awful, but I
Talk
know a
about it.
lot more Liverpool fans. There's not really a lot of Man City fans out
It's
there.
cool. There's barely any of them in
Yeah.
Manchester. Trust me, I know. Real talk, big man. They barely got any fans. Trust me, I
Yeah,
know.
so
So
like it was
for real.
more unbearable for like Liverpool fans, like to see
Yeah.
Liverpool fans happy. So um but I just love people here, and it's United, Chelsea, Spurs, City.
No, the first question.
United, I don't know
First.
if that's an order, but Spurs for me will always be like number one. Like
Mm.
I hate
Spicy
them.
ones.
I used to hate United, but now I just like them not as much lately, probably because of how you performed.
Yeah, I think that's what it is for some
Yeah,
fans. It's performance related and where they're at. For other fans like me, despise like you lot could be in League Two, and I'll be checking League Two results week in
yeah,
week
that's
out. Like that's where I'm at with Leeds. I still check Championship results now just because I despise them. 'Cause I
yeah.
don't want them to like when they lost in the Championship playoff. I think was it the day after us or the
Mm.
day before? It was the same weekend. I celebrated that like the FA Cup win. So happy when they stayed in the Championship. Can't stand them.
Yeah, that's what it'd be like with me. Like no matter what Tottenham, whatever like thing they're playing, whatever
Mhm.
competition, I'm always gonna check the
Yeah, you're gonna root
results
against
and
them, of
hope you
course.
fail.
Yeah.
Because it was like when they were playing like Brighton the other day, I saw it's 2-0 and I thought, oh,
Mm.
it's gonna be one of those games. And I watched the second half and then I was like, I
It was
knew when
terrible.
Brighton scored they were gonna win that, and that was amazing. But it is
Mhm.
interesting. I think it's a good point because I think the successful teams like Liverpool, Man City have always got this like there's a I think the rivalry between Arsenal and United feels bigger to me than Man City and Liverpool. I think obviously I wasn't, when we had that big sort of rivalry, I
Yeah.
wasn't, I didn't watch Arsenal. And I don't think I was born probably, but it felt a lot bigger than the Man City and Liverpool one, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it definitely is because one is just different eras. So the City Liverpool thing, as much as they were competing for a title, there wasn't really any dislike. Like Pep and Klopp barely argued on the touchline.
Yeah,
Like there wasn't anything on the pitch. Whereas like Manchester United, Arsenal was just like I'm old enough, I'm showing my age. Like I remember like watching those games. Like at points there was literally it was basically like football was secondary. Like there was straight scraps. We all know about Vieira and Keane in the tunnel at
yeah.
Highbury, for example. Fabregas throwing the pizza
I love
at the
that.
relics and stuff
Yeah,
like that. Like we know all of these things. Like there was just like the managers didn't like each other, the players didn't like each other on the pitch. There was just like we watched these lot kick each other up and down. Like we all witnessed this. We watched the physical altercations, and when we hear whether it's Arsenal players from that time or United players talk about it, and it was
yeah,
over a long period of time. It wasn't 2 or 3 years. That was even before like I think it was like from the night. I think there was a big bust up in like '89 before my time. Like,
yeah,
so it's been long outstanding. And then you add in the Premier fighting for the Premier League title. So that's where it's done. I love that though. It was great.
yeah. I agree. Like, it's a good point actually from Chris here. If Spurs won stuff, I'd have them as the top as a rival. But I
Okay.
don't know. I know I do think this is true. I'm not just saying this because I'm an Arsenal fan, but I do always
Mm.
think Arsenal will always be a bigger club than Spurs. I mean, I don't really see Spurs ever really winning anything like a title or a Champions League. I just don't ever see it happening. Like, I mean, like you look at the managers they've had. Like, say
Mm.
Conte, that's a great example because when he came, I was thinking, oh no, like they're getting serious, they're gonna win
Mm.
stuff, and it failed. And
Got them into
obviously,
it.
I just don't see Spurs winning anything. Like, you never know, they might do one day, but
Damn.
um, I just don't see it. But yeah, Spurs will always be like top for me.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
I heard that.
I think though, like it's a good point. Like if two clubs are successful, you're more likely to hate them. Like growing up, I hated Mourinho so much. Like I despise that man. Like it got under my nerves. Like it wasn't sort of. It was like in interviews, he would say stuff about Wenger, and I'm just thinking like,
Call him a specialist in failure and
yeah.
those
And
things. And
the
that's where
thing
that
is,
stems
like,
from.
the
Yeah,
thing
I hear
is,
you.
like, in a sense, he wasn't wrong by saying about the league titles because
Mm.
we weren't really going to win anything. I know we got close in 2015, but I think it was how he said it. I think if he said it in a better way,
Mm.
then I would have thought fair enough. But because he said it in such a nasty way, I just thought. But it was always hard against Chelsea because we would always beat them in like the cup games, but when it came to like the league, we just couldn't ever do it. Which
Can get over the line. Right.
yeah, it's always been that way. I feel like I've never seen us win the league, and I'm just hoping it happens one day.
Oh,
Um,
dude, you never seen Arsenal win the league?
no, so
Damn.
yeah, do you know what, it's so annoying because I supported Arsenal around I think it was around 2014. So we
Okay.
got close. We did get close
Yeah.
in the 2015 season. I really thought like we could do it,
Mm.
but it's annoying because we've got close, especially with Arteta like twice, and I'm
Mm.
just like, am I ever going to see it happen
Yeah.
now?
It will happen as much as it pains me to admit it, it will happen to you lot eventually. It will happen. Football goes in cycles. Obviously, I hope it continues and you lot don't, but
Yeah, but
eventually you'll get there. It just feels like it's forever because you've never seen it and it's been 20 years. But football goes in cycles. Well, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Great
because
feeling seeing your
like
team pick up a prem.
it's interesting because like a lot of people always say, would you rather win a league or a Champions League? And I
Yeah.
think for Arsenal, we've not won a Champions League, and it'd be good to win it, but also like people can't say that to us anymore that we've not won it. But
Yeah, yeah.
I think for me, I'd probably pick a league over it just because the fact that we've obviously gotten close and it shows you the progress
Fair.
Arteta would have made. But either I would take. I mean, I think you'd take Kenny right now for United.
Please just give me some wins. Just give me 3 wins in a row in the
Yeah.
league. My manager ain't done that in a season and a bit. That's what I need. Just give me 3 wins in a row and good performances in the league, and we can stem from there. Get me to a plus goal difference. That's where I'm at. -3. Oh Lord have mercy.
No, but I get you because like when Arsenal won, like we just losing like after
Yeah,
each game. When we won, it felt like a trophy, like just winning one game. That's just how it
that's
is.
exactly what
It's
it is.
crazy, but yeah, it's just crazy with United because like I suppose growing up you're always in the top four, and obviously top four isn't a trophy, but I think if you look at a season, Arsenal United, the bare minimum you probably would say would be in the top four, and obviously you're not even getting there right now, which is it's not great. But I wanted to actually just ask you a bit about Arteta
Mm,
because
okay.
I just love hearing people's different opinions. And
Yeah.
for me, like I've personally been on a bit of a roller coaster with Arteta. Like when he first came, I was excited, and
Mm,
then I thought to myself, after time, is this gonna work? We got
mhm,
to the I think it was the semi-finals against Villarreal, and I thought to myself, like, that's make or break for him. And obviously,
mm.
after that, he's done quite well. But obviously, like the league, it's a tough one really because with Man City, you have to be perfect when you're competing with them. But at the same time, we sort of are at fault for our own mistakes when when we have lost out. But I just wanted to sort of ask you about sort of when Arteta came in, your thoughts then to sort of how he's doing now, and if you can think if you think he could win us the league.
Yeah, when Arteta first came in, I thought, what? Terrible appointment.
Yeah,
That's what I
he's not
thought.
really experienced. Yeah,
I thought terrible appointment. No, you haven't managed anywhere, and your first job is going to be Arsenal, which as much as I criticize, Arsenal are a massive football club. They're a massive football club with big expectations from the fans. So there's a lot of pressure.
yeah,
And you're giving the job to Arteta. However, he has done better than I expected. And he's done better than the general consensus too. I called that wrong. He's done a good job.
yeah,
He's done a very good job. However, is he the guy, in my opinion? And Arsenal fans get on my case about this all the time. I'm not got the comments up probably in the chat. People ain't gonna like what I gotta say. I tell troops this on a weekly
yeah,
basis all the time as well. Arteta's not the guy to take you lot over the line. And I think he's shown that in the last 2 seasons. Because I think if Arsenal have a serious manager, you win one or both of the last 2 leagues. You cannot be top of the league for 93% of it and not win it. You can't have the
yeah,
season that you had last season and not win it. And I think if you had a serious operator and a manager of the highest quality, you win one, not both. If you put Carlo Ancelotti, for example, in that situation, I think you win
yeah,
it. I think you win it. So I think Arteta's, yes, he solidified you. You are one of the better. To me, you're the second best team in the league and have been now
yeah,
for 3 years in a row. Solidified that. You're a couple players away, I believe, from being an absolute serious outfit. I think you need a central midfielder. I think you need a striker. If you sort out those 2 things, which I think you needed this last summer gone and the summer before, I could have potentially put you lot as favourites for the league. So I look at it and
yeah.
go, you're close. But Arteta's not the guy, in my opinion, to get you over the line. I don't think he is.
Do you know what? It's tough because I like him, and I think to get us to where we are now is amazing. And I'm
Mm,
rooting for him to win us the league. And I'm just in my head, I'm still trying to figure out if he's a really good manager, but maybe he's not just able to get us
mm,
over the line. And like, do you know what this season? If we don't win the league, I'll be very disappointed. But I feel like this season, I want us to win things.
mm,
Like I mean, obviously, like if we finish the season second with a League Cup, I wouldn't be happy because
mm.
like it's not really enough for us. But I think we need that success, that silverware. But I think with the league, I think what's so tough about it is like last season we got so close, like
Yeah,
2 points, and I sort of think it was our own fault in a way because we lost to Fulham, West Ham, and if we would have just won one of those games, we would have done it. And
exactly.
that's like the most frustrating thing because I didn't mind actually drawing with Man City, because you know what I thought, they're a tough team, you'll take that. And there we wanted to
Mhm.
win, but that I didn't think that was the reason why we didn't win it. I just think the smaller teams like lower down in the league you've got to beat. So
Yeah.
I want us to do it this season, but it's so tough because I know Liverpool as well look a lot stronger this season with their new manager. Um but I do sort of feel like if we get to the end of the season and we fall short again, I feel like we're going round in circles a bit. Like it's just where do we go from here?
And that's legit. You're one of the sensible ones when you're talking about Arteta and him needed to get you over the line. And people think it's a criticism when I say he's not good enough to get you over the line. I think he's good enough. He's second tier. When it comes to that B tier of managers, he's the guy. If you want to be a good outfit, if you want to finish in the top four consistently, FA
Yeah,
Cup, League Cups, Europa League, those second and third tier trophies, Arteta's your guy. I put Emery in that same bracket. Emery's shown
yeah,
that. You look at what the job he's done at Villa, made them
he's
top
done
four.
great. Yeah,
He's won Europa Leagues. I think it's 4 or 5 he's won in his career. He's probably got a couple of domestic cups in Spain. For that second tier level, he's the guy. There's only a select few managers that can get you over the line. Look at the managers that have won Premier Leagues.
yeah,
The elite of the elite. The only one you can say really is not elite is Claudio Ranieri. He's probably the only one, and there's exceptions to all rule. But whether it's
yeah.
Pep, whether it's Klopp, Fergie, Wenger, Mourinho, Conte, look at the managers I'm talking about. Creme de la creme at those times, even if Mourinho and Conte are not at that now, at those times, creme de la creme, arguably the best manager in Europe. That's the level you need to be at. I just don't see Arteta as that right now.
Yeah, because it's quite interesting because, like, if Arteta left tomorrow and you look back on his time, people would probably think he failed to win the league twice.
Yeah.
And yes, there was improvements. He got us to challenge again, but I think as well it's so hard because I think when you look at your own club, you see the improvements and you see what he's doing, but without that success, like if Ferguson or Wenger didn't win what they won, no one would give them that credit. Like it's about what you've won as well as the other things. So I think Arteta, for him, he's got to win things because if you look at it at the end of the day, you know, he's not won FA Cup. I'm not going to count the Community Shields because they're not really for me like
See,
big trophies.
you got some dignity and decorum, so that's what I like about you. You're not out here counting shields. What are we
I
doing?
mean, like when we won it, the Community Shield, I think it was at the start of last season. I thought this is a good starter for us, like going
Mm.
into the season. And I thought it's amazing to see the silverware for the team. And I think that would probably give them a bit of like motivation to want to win more. And obviously it didn't happen, unfortunately. Like I thought it would happen, but no. But yeah, I don't. I mean, it's weird with the Community Shield. I don't know how how everyone views it, but I think I probably put like the League Cup as the lower one down, the FA Cup, and the League, the Champions League. I don't know which one people think is bigger, but that
No, you're
how
right.
would you yeah, would you view that the same as well?
Yeah, the same as you. Premier League and Champions League are the creme de la creme. I put them level. They're the top tier. They're the ones that transform managers, transform players, transform teams. You mentioned there about Wenger
Yeah,
and Fergie. The reason why we remember them so fondly is because Wenger won league titles, Fergie won league titles and 2 Champions Leagues. If they didn't, we wouldn't look at them as fondly. That's what it is. Whether it's
yeah,
Mourinho at Chelsea, whether it's Ranieri at Leicester, at Conte at Chelsea, Pep now, Klopp and what he did. Those are the trophies that
yeah,
set you aside. Now, the FA Cup, I put in the second tier. And for top teams, that should be in addition, but that's still a good trophy to win. League Cup, I put in third tier. Community Shield, I don't count. See Manchester
yeah.
United
They're
win
not really much, are
count.
they?
I don't count. I never be like, oh, we won the Community Shield successful season. No, I don't count it. I don't look at it
Yeah,
as anything.
I don't think you can really count them like that. I think, like I always say, it's a good starter for the season. It will put the team in a positive sort of mindset, but you can't really ever count on that. This is actually a good point from Chris about if Man City don't win it and Liverpool do, that'll be hard. I mean, if Man City win it, full stop, I'll be annoyed because it's another season we haven't done it. But I think if Liverpool won it, it's like they're overtaking us again because for Liverpool, the last sort of maybe season or two, we've been a bit better. Like you said, was the second best in the league. So Liverpool, I think, have fallen off a tiny bit than what they expect. But I just don't know. I don't see Liverpool winning it this season, but I feel like the way we played against Man City, it's quite the second half, we obviously just sat back, but the first half, I thought we were quite brave. So I think if we beat Liverpool, we can do that. Then yeah, it'd be interesting. But I just hope Liverpool don't win it. I'm just tired of falling short at the end. It's just so disappointing.
I understand that.
Yeah, I just hope we can do it. Also, I think the Arsenal women are playing and we're losing 5-2. So
Damn.
yeah, so thanks for the updates, guys. Don't think I want to know. That's a bit of a mess. But thank you as well. Big up to everyone. Yeah, I've just seen this now. Everyone's putting in. Um, but I wanted obviously to ask you a bit about Arsenal as well. Like we were
Mm.
talking about Arteta. For you this season, like last season for me, there were so many standout players. I mean, Gabriel defensively was amazing. Declan Rice came in and he's done really well. Who do you think would be Arsenal's like player to watch or player of the season? This season for Arsenal.
Oh, Saliba definitely.
Yeah,
He's your standout player. He's the one player I look at and I go. And you have many players that I look at and I go at quality, but Saliba's the one who I go, yeah. Not only are you quality now, you could get better as you get older.
yeah,
And yeah, you just look like a Rolls Royce defender right now. And modern day, as a modern day centre back, you seem to have it all. And that's why the links with Real Madrid make sense. French,
yeah.
we all know about
I
Madrid's
hope he doesn't
connection
go.
with
You
French
know,
players. I think it's a question of when he goes to Madrid, not if. If it ain't this season, it's the
if we're
season
not going
after.
to win anything, then he's going to go.
Yeah, I think he goes there, be on
Yeah,
French international duty with all the French players who are there. Chouameni's there,
yeah,
Camavinga's there. They all chatting to him. And Mbappe's there, especially if Real Madrid go on and win stuff. He'd be like, why would you not go? And they need centre
yeah,
backs. It's not like you have to worry about playing. They got Rudiger there, they got Militao, but they're slightly older. So why would you not? If you're him, why would you not go
yeah.
to Real
Why would you?
Madrid?
Yeah, Madrid are very good, especially the
Mhm.
Champions League, and that's what I worry about as well. Because now we're at the stage where I don't feel worried about players going, but with Saliba, you
He's
wouldn't
the
really
one.
turn down Madrid at all, would you? Like they're a big club.
No,
That's
you're
what I'm
telling
worried
Madrid.
about. Yeah, Rudiger's on the way out. I feel that's yeah, Rudiger. That's he was a very good player, but I don't. Madrid are always a big club, and that's what I worry about because, like, I love Gabriel and Saliba.
Mm.
They're both different, but they both work so well together. Like, they both got different qualities, but I think if Saliba left, I don't see anyone that he's not a player you can replace really. I
Very
think
tough,
he's
bro.
yeah, like I mean, I love it's hard to sort of pick which one I'd pick, but I do love having them both at the club and Gabriel, the
Mm.
progress he's made is amazing. But I think it'll be yeah, whoever if any of these players do leave, I wouldn't be surprised because you have to be understandable. Like Sanchez, when he left United, I thought, you know what, he deserves to be at a team and win stuff. So you can't blame players for wanting to
Yeah,
be ambitious and wanting to win things.
absolutely.
So I do hope that doesn't happen. And standing hold the standard we need to win a major trophy this season. No excuses. If we don't win trophies soon, Saliba, Saka, and others will leave the club to win stuff. Yeah, I mean, with Saka, the only reason why I say he might stay a bit longer is because of his loyalty to Arsenal and the fact he loves this club and he deserves to win things. But I do think it's a bit, if he did ever leave, I'd respect his decision and he'll always have that love for Arsenal. But yeah, those are the sort of players you don't want to lose, really, Arsenal.
Abs- Absolutely. You don't want to lose because once you start losing your quality players, it then encourages the other quality players you to have to think, I should leave here. And then signing players is tough as well. Because why would you sign somewhere when quality players are leaving? And
Yeah,
we've seen this
exactly.
with Arsenal, like you mentioned previously, where you had them years where your better players were leaving. So you want to try and keep hold of your better players. And I think you will. I think you'll just be Saliba, to
Yeah,
be honest. I think you keep hold of
yeah.
Saka. I don't see
I
Saka like yeah, let me leave Arsenal. I don't see it happening.
I think when money sort of talks, Arsenal might be open to the offer. I mean, I do think Sleeper is happy at Arsenal, but
Mm.
I also think he wants to win stuff, like leagues, Champions League, those type of things. So but yeah, you'd be hard to replace. But it's also about if you're seeing other players leave, they also might want to leave. But yeah, it's a good point as well. Like we used to do this all the time, like Van Persie and Fabregas, and I think what was hard about that is that they always went on and achieved more, and we were sort of left behind, not
Mm.
achieving, and we always fell behind. So I think that's what we've got to make sure we do. We've got to just, I think we need to win something this season. Like I think the league's definitely the number one. The Champions League, like this season, it's sort of I think it'd be good to balance out both competitions, but
Okay.
I think realistically the league's more of a priority. Um but yeah, I just wanted to say do subscribe here to his channel and check it out,
Appreciate.
guys. Appreciate big up Clement for putting that in the
Yeah.
description. Um Des says Saliba is as good now as Tony Adams was at the end of his career, and that is saying something because Adams was brilliant. Do you know, I think obviously I think if Saliba won things as well, you would put him on that level as well. I think he's so good, Saliba, but I don't compare players yet. I just like to see how their career goes, you know.
That's fair.
Yeah, a question for you actually here.
Mhm.
Flawless, are you worried that the longer you keep Ten Hag, that Manny Bino is not developed properly? His performances have taken a dip from last season. Is that a system thing or development?
That's both.
Yeah,
Because it's not just Mano like that I worry about. I worry for any player who has any form of talent because they're not in the right environment in terms of being from an individual perspective, and then they don't have a system to back them up either. So am I concerned about Mano? Absolutely under this
yeah.
manager. I'm concerned about everybody else too. I'm concerned about players who I don't think are as good as Mano. Because even if a player is average, you can put him in a system that you get above average performances from him. Just get 6, 7 out of 10 out of certain players. So definitely a concern. Ten Hag
Yeah,
doesn't improve anybody. Everybody dips off. Everybody regresses. Nobody is positive. Even the new signings, you see it right now. You've seen Delit take a dip in the past couple games, in the past few games. We've seen it with Xerxes already. We've seen it with Mano. And people who start off here at Manchester United and have any form of trajectory, eventually their form sinks because confidence goes, results are bad, etc.
do you know what? It's a shame as well because I really like him. Like last season, you know, when I've seen him, he honestly felt like a breath of fresh air to watch in your team, and it's a real shame as well. Is Garnacho now dipping? Is he?
Ganacho, as much as I think he's limited, yeah,
Yeah,
Ganacho's dipping too. Like, and I'm not a big fan of Ganacho. He's best off the bench. He's a limited winger,
yeah.
but you can still utilize him better than you are currently right now. Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's what's the problem as well. Like, because players, if you're not doing good as well as a whole team, you know, you will sort of see that lack of confidence with these players, and it's a shame because like Mainy's a good example. Like, I like him. I always like seeing young players, you know, do well for themselves, and it's sort of a shame that things aren't going great with these players. And yeah, I think a lot of it. I think if Ten Hag left and you had sort of a fresh start and a new sort of style of play and a new, you know, you just want to see enjoying football like in the attacking sense, but I think defensively you sort of want to see that as well. um so yeah, I think it's a tough one for United definitely right now. Just wanted to say big up to True Guna. Good to
you're
see
true.
all of you in the chat. um
Pick up the chat. Hey, you lot, run
yeah,
up the likes as well on the video in the chat. Run up the likes and subscribe. Hit the subscribe button
big up the
right
chat,
here.
thank you. Saliba would have already won 2 titles so if the game wasn't rigged. I'm saying nothing. Yeah, I mean,
Smart.
do you know what? I mean, I
No,
don't
it's
know
not
how.
rigged. You said it so. Beat Fulham and West Ham or at home and you win the league, or West Ham away,
Do you know
wherever it
I
was. Win the
I
league.
you know what I say, right? The
Mm.
referees in England are crap, and
Yes.
that's just something we have to. It's I think it's something that's good to talk about, but I also think you also have to be responsible. Like, there's only one game that I remember that Arsenal lost because of a referee, and do you know what? I can't remember a game. I think we played Wolves, and David Luiz got sent off, and that was not a red card, and we lost that game. And obviously. If you don't take your chances, you don't win. But I don't. I think you've always got to take responsibility because this season there's been a few games where referees have got things wrong, but it's also our fault as well for not taking our chances. And for me, we desperately need a striker. But like I said, it's yeah. How do you feel about the refereeing? Because do you know what? I think towards some clubs, referees can be a bit more like. I think for Man City, referees can be a bit more like they're letting them off with things than maybe yours, but yeah, how do you feel about the referee?
In regards to referees, as long as we've all been watching football, whether it's you, Sofa, or it's me, no
Yeah,
matter who you support, I say this all the time. You get one fan from every club in the country, all top 20 in the Premier League. Put them all in one, well, all 20 teams in the
yeah,
league and put them all in one room. You know, one thing they'll all universally agree on that referees are terrible in the league. We all know this. Referees are
yeah,
incompetent. So when referees make incompetent decisions, why are we surprised? Now, does that make it right? No.
yeah,
However, you have an hour. I always blame my team first. You have an
yeah,
hour and 30 minutes to impact a football match in spite of the referee. This is why I don't blame referees. When Manchester United lose football matches, even if the referee makes a bad decision for us, I am looking at my players and my manager first. They are who are responsible. You lot can impact this game more
Yeah.
than the more than the referee. Yes, like I said, referees are incompetent and not good at their job. We know this. Don't rely on them. If we do what we're supposed to do and perform to a high enough level, we'll win the game regardless. I've seen countless games where
Yeah.
Manchester United have lost or drew and it's been bad refereeing decisions. I didn't blame the ref. My team didn't do enough. My manager
Yeah.
didn't do enough. Like, and VAR, I like VAR. The problem is the people using VAR because they're incompetent. And all we've done is give incompetent people equipment to show how much more how incompetent they are, because we're seeing it with decisions now. Decisions are happening live. We can be watching a game and I'll go, that's a penalty. They'll go
Yeah.
to VAR and then VAR will study it for 2 to 3 minutes, slow
Yeah.
motion angle, slow motion, 4K, 5, 6, 7, 8 different angles, and then go no penalty. That's not VAR's fault. That's the incompetence of these people. The same decisions I
Yeah.
look at and I go, how have you not to give that as a penalty? It's a stonewall penalty. What is
Yeah.
there to debate? Well, hey.
Yeah, I don't think VAR. I think the thing as well, as a fan, you want to enjoy football, even as a neutral
Mhm.
fan watching, a game in a championship. It does sort of ruin the fun. But I think with your own team, I think I always say you have to sort of, if you've done enough and you've done all you can, then that's a different story. But I think if I don't think it's always on the referee, but I think sometimes it's 50-50. I think
Mhm.
if you've had clear cut chances that you've not taken, then you can't just say that's on the referee. You've got to just say we weren't good enough at doing that. But I do think the referees, I think like when we've had like red cards, that sort
Mhm.
of changes the game. But I think with
Mhm.
like penalty situations, I think that's a bit different. But when you have red cards, it does change your game. But I
And
think with us, yeah,
I always say the same thing about red cards. Don't give the referee a decision to make.
yeah, because
Even when it's red
yeah,
card, there's
we've
not. You've had some don't kick like kicking the ball away. Kicking the ball away can be a yellow card, and we know referees are incompetent. It's like last year when Casemiro got sent off because he put his
yeah,
hands on Will Hughes. Do I
you
personally
know
think it
it's
was a red
gonna,
card? No,
yeah.
I don't think it was a red card. But don't put your hands on people
I
because you
think,
know what these
yeah,
people are like.
because
Well,
you're going to give them that opportunity to send you
yes,
off. But I
yes.
think, do you know what? It's interesting because I think with the rules, like, I think Trossard's one was, I think it was a bit harsh, but I also
Mm,
think if that's the rule, then you have to accept that. I think with Declan Rice's one's the only one that I thought was very, very, strict.
mm,
But I think, do you know what? I think you've got to be able to work through that. And when you get red cards, like you've got to be
mm.
able to find a way to win and not let it affect you. But if you're giving the referee a chance to an opportunity for that, it obviously doesn't help. But yeah, I think it's good to have these conversations about referees because we can blame them as well as our performances if you're not done enough. But yeah, I completely agree. The Prem need to hire that ref that looks like Trossard. Do you know what? He's a very good referee. Yeah, I like him. I mean, I think I like a referee that's just very fair with his
Mhm.
decisions. So I completely agree with that. But before we do round the show up, I thought you
Yeah,
could tell people a bit about your channel, what sort of content you do, and where they can find you.
I appreciate. Thanks for having me as well. So
Oh, you're very
thoroughly
welcome
enjoyed
anytime.
this. I
Me
appreciate
too.
it. In regards to the YouTube Sarcasm City TV people, where we're live every day. Of course, I'm a Manchester United fan, so you get Manchester United content. But we also cover rest of the big six, so Arsenal, Liverpool,
Yeah.
City, Chelsea, Spurs, etc. as well. And with Sarcasm City TV, the clues in the title, like yes,
Yeah.
we can sit down and discuss football in a serious manner, and we're passionate about our teams, but jokes people. Like no
Yeah.
matter who it is, we will run jokes. Like more often than not, you'll see me or my panelists on shows or people in the chat cracking jokes. We are running bants. It's unfiltered. If you're easily offended, it is not for you because your team. Everybody gets dunked on. Everybody's team,
I love
including
that.
myself. I get dunked on, and I own the channel. I keep the lights on. And I get dunked on. That's all it's been for the past few days is people dunking on me about Ten Hag and any else than Manchester United. So that's what it is. It's lighthearted. It's funny.
Yeah,
Therapy
you've got to
sessions.
own it when you're not doing good. You've just got to
100%.
be honest,
Right, it's
yeah.
exactly that. Therapy sessions for many, whether it's United. I've done therapy sessions for every fan base. People on the panel will come on and just have a rant about something or get stuff off of their chest. So that's what Sarcasm City TV is, people in a nutshell. Mainly football, but over on the playback as well. We cover other sports, got NBA over there. What else we do watch alongs galore. Let me just clarify that as well. Premier
I
League
love
watch
that.
alongs, Champions League, Europa League, FA Cup, League Cup. And then in other sports as well, I mentioned there the playback NBA content's over there. We do NFL, Formula One, boxing, UFC, the whole nine. Cover a lot of different sports over on the playback. So subscribe to the Sarcasm City TV YouTube and
Yeah.
follow us on playback as well.
Yeah, please do subscribe. I'll leave a link as well in the description.
Appreciate it.
But yeah, I love that. I think it's great. Like, if you're not doing great as a club, instead of crying, just
Yeah,
laugh
you gotta
about
get
it.
these. You gotta get these jokes. Like
Yeah,
that's what it is. So you have to get these jokes off, even about yourself. That's why I still crash on the rivals as well. Like everybody, nobody's above getting jokes.
yeah,
Nobody's above. Like that's what man. That's why I created it. I didn't want it to be all serious and all, like no man. Like you can enjoy yourself, man. You can
yeah.
laugh.
That's the way
That's
to
what it
be,
is.
really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%,
Yeah,
100%.
I think, it's not you can't control what's happening, so just have a laugh. And I think that's great to do on podcasts because like you said, it's like a therapy session. Like I know Arsenal generally do well, but if we're not doing well, it's just nice to just rant and just chat
Get
about
it
it.
off your
So
chest.
yeah.
It is
You feel
exactly
better
that.
after it as well, having like
Absolutely.
a chat, and yeah, it is great doing this. And I wanted to thank all of you as well in the comments for sending your questions. It's been so enjoyable, and we'll definitely do this again because I could talk to you all day. Like we had such a good time.
Yeah, invite me. You already know. Just message me and we'll get it sorted anytime. So
Thank you so much. But yeah, big up to all of you, and big up to Chris. Big up to thank you. Hope glad you all enjoyed it. It's great to chat with you all too. We've really enjoyed your company too. But yeah, guys, don't forget to leave a like on this video, subscribe, and yeah, I will see you all in my next video. Bye, guys.
peace.